So we have today bread flour. That can be normal bread flour, and another kind of bread flour, which is buckwheat flour. But you could put only bread flour, you can change, you can mix. But the most important is 3 cups of flour, whatever quantity you want. So I would do 2 of this, which of normal bread flour, and 1 cup of buckwheat. Okay, that's it for now. Then the dry yeast needs to be activated, and the only way to activate dry yeast is by putting it in water for 10 minutes, and it will activate and make it faster for the process. So 375 milliliter of lukewarm water. Cold water will not activate the yeast, so it doesn't need to be very hot yeast. If it's room temperature water is fine, but you know, I usually make it lukewarm. So 2 teaspoons of yeast in the warm water, so it can make it start working. 1 teaspoon of salt, and some people like to put 2 tablespoons of sugar, and some people like it without sugar, or you can put any kind of sweetener you like now in the water. And then a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So it can make it, we're gonna have to put a bit more today because we wanna test how much it is different, but let's say a 1/4 cup of olive oil. We can put a little bit more, but I am not gonna put more than that. So a 1/4 and a little bit. And now we shake it and we leave the yeast activate. And the way the yeast is gonna be activating, you're gonna see it bubbling in the water. Once you see it bubbling in the water, we have the fountain of our lovely flour ready. So we can do a well in the middle. And when the liquid mix is ready, we will mix it. So we have the well ready and the liquid mix ready to go. So we put the liquid mix in the middle of the well, and then slowly with a spatula, because it is gonna always be wet, so do not freak out that it's very wet mix. It is a mix, it's a wet mix, so it's better to use a spatula because you could take half of the dough on your hands. So you just mix it slowly, no need for kneading. This is a no kneading bread, so you no need to knead it at all. You just mix it well so it can incorporate all the water and the oils and the lovely yeast. Now we want to do a little extra today, so we're gonna use some sunflower seeds. Not a lot, because it can change the smell of it. We can put on top of the bread later. And poppy seeds. And sesame seeds. You can put any nuts you want, anything you like in the bread now at this moment. You can put chili. I tried chili flakes once, and they're actually very nice with the bread. Or oregano, thyme. These are nice mixes. Some oregano that smells unbelievable. It's gonna be like, yeah, if you want. It smells amazing. And we will call it buckwheat, oregano, poppy seed, sesame flour bread. Okay, now it's ready. Very, very watery, gooey. Ew, I don't know what to do with it. People freak out. Don't freak out. Just leave it standing 4 hours to 12 hours in the fridge, covered with a cling film. So now we need to leave the dough rest for 4 to 12 hours. But before we do that, we put the cling film really tight on the dough. And if you want to put some flour on top so it doesn't really get sticky, because the yeast needs to activate without touching the air all the time. And you can put it in the fridge or outside, wherever you want. It's more preferably in the fridge. and it could double or triple or quadruple in size before you cook it, which will create the cavities of air that is in the bread, and it will be yummy. 4 hours later, we're gonna start preparing the bread in the oven. So we take it out of the fridge, and this is it. It's 3 times the size. You could see the pockets of air, beautiful and healthy. The buckwheat seems to have done its magic as well. So now we make it rest for 45 minutes after we start the baking. So we take the proofed dough that's still very sticky, not to worry about that. So that is the proof dough. It's a bit cold, so it's good to leave it out a bit for some flour. And now is a bit of, let's call it massaging the dough, and leave it rest for a second proofing before baking time. That looks like a very healthy dough. While we're doing that, we need to put the Dutch oven in the oven. So it is the secret of this recipe. And now we Dutch oven or a creuset marmite or this kind of thing. And you put it in the water. This is a pottery thing, so it needs to be in water a bit so it can be a bit moist. And then you put it in the oven empty for 45 minutes while the bread is proofing. This is getting ready to become the vessel to cook. 45 minutes later, now it's time to bake the bread. So we get a good knife for scoring. We open the bread. That looks fantastico. Score it. We put some of a bit of the sesame, poppy seeds. I always like to spray or damp it with a bit of oil at the end. If you have a spray, it's better because you don't want to make it very wet. The Dutch oven has been in the oven for 45 minutes. It's super hot. Take care. You take it out. Wow. Definitely very hot and ready to go. You pick up your bread. You drop it nicely. So you pick up the bread and you drop it nicely in the Dutch oven, making sure to have it settled nicely. And then you take the cover, you close it, and get it baked in the oven for 30 minutes tops. 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes since the bread is in the oven. We will have to uncover the Dutch oven and leave it to take a crust color for 10 minutes. We'll open the fridge and we're hoping that we're gonna watch something good. So it's been, whoa, oh my god. Okay, so 10 minutes and we come back to it. You would have watched the bread getting a tan. So when you feel like it's got enough tan, just turn it off and it's ready to go out. So this is our bread for the weekend. Yum, buckwheat, olive oil, oregano, beautiful bread. And bon appetit.